Hello, everyone. Welcome to second day of Game Jam lectures, Game Jam sessions online. Thanks for joining. Quick reminder that yesterday we had a short intro about what will happen in Game Jam, how everything will happen. So please find it on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, or you'll find the link on Discord and Game Jam, Facebook, and Association Facebook. So take a look and follow up if you have any questions. And today I'm very glad to welcome Povilas from Nordcurrent, our long-time partners and friends. And loved the title of your lecture, Jammy Jammy design. I think that will be very appropriate. Povilas is a game designer and game producer currently, yes, if I understand correctly.
Yes, for 6 years in Nordcurrent, happily creating games. Yeah.
Nice. So I'll give the floor and the virtual screen to Povilas, and we'll come back at the end of the lecture for questions. Today everything is okay with YouTube chat, so please type in your questions straight to YouTube channel, and I'll see it and read at the end of the lecture, and we'll chat about things. Please welcome. And let's see what the Jammy design is about and what robots are not talking about.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so welcome everybody to my talk. The title is Jammy Game Design because a game jam is a unique environment where some of the game design rules of the industry are broken. And I wanted to find some new, interesting way to approach the talks. So I wanted to see what robots couldn't tell me about this topic. So we'll see what that is about in a minute. So a little bit about myself. I'm Povilas. I have been a human for 34 years, gamer most of that period of time. I played all games that I couldn't get my hands on. And for the last 6 years, I've been happily designing games in Nordcurrent and producing them. So let's jump into it. So what is this about? So the whole lecture is not going to be too long because as I found out, robots can tell you a lot of things. But we will talk about how I made this lecture a little, since this event is so related to time and so time intensive. I think we need to address the game jam time paradox. Also, a little bit of tips of how to do design, and not only design during the event, and a little bit of preparation you can do ahead of time. Not too much, but some things that I think might be helpful for everyone who wants to enjoy this experience. And a bit of an outro, but we'll get to that at the end. Okay, so to figure out what robots won't tell you, I started off by seeing what they could tell me. And I went, of course, to ChatGPT and asked, okay, so how do we handle the chaos of game design during the game jam? And, of course, ChatGPT proceeded to generate 13 points. They're all valid, all really concise, good bullet points. Check them out, not now. After this talk. But then I thought, I think there's more. So I asked, since prototyping is basically what you do half of the event anyway, I asked how to prototype during a game jam. And ChatGPT proceeds to generate 14 more points, all valid. You could go check them out. And then I thought maybe there's more. So I asked, what are you not telling me about these topics? And then ChatGPT proceeded to add 10 more points, also all very good points. Basically, all of the points that you could read through these 3 prompts is basically any YouTube video that you could ever find about game jam design. Okay, but then I thought maybe they're hiding something, and I asked ChatGPT, "What are you hiding?" And of course, he or she said that they don't hide anything. But then I asked, "What more can you add?" And then they proceeded to generate 10 more points. But that was basically scraping the bottom of what ChatGPT can do, and not worth reading. So what's next? I have 37 points I shouldn't talk about, which, to be honest, I semi-accomplished, but it's basically hard not to address any of the points that the robot said, but I tried really hard. Then I proceeded to interview 5 humans about their experiences in the game jam, and that was, I think, the main drawing point for me creating this talk, and also finding some bits of really honest experiences that I could share that ChatGPT just couldn't generate to anyone. And apparently there's no limit on prompts when disturbing the work of your colleagues. Then I took my own game design experience from those 6 years and basically tried to strip away everything that is time consuming. And since we're talking about time, it's a good segue to talk about the game jam time paradox, which basically is that rarely in life you get an opportunity to dedicate so much time to something that you love doing. It's not only about designing and developing games, but in life in general. You take 48 hours and you just focus and deep dive into something that you're really passionate about and that you really love. The paradox is the thing that we all love is an interactive multimedia project with an infinite audience of all possible demographics, which then becomes a bit more difficult to accomplish in 48 hours. So time is everything. And a lot of the points that I will talk about are related to time. Okay, so let's go on to the design part. So what you see on the slides with humans and the chat bubbles is basically quotes that I got from people when I was talking about their experience with game design. So you will see them throughout most of the slides. And basically, first thing to address is, as I said before, time is short during a game jam, but the beginning is very, very important. And it's important on a lot of levels, because that's where you feel the most excitement, the most adrenaline, the most rush, and spending this time productively while also having fun can save a lot of time later. So do not my advice and my wish is not to skip this and not to jump too far ahead too quickly. So basically sit down with your team and really enjoy the beginning, but as I said, enjoy the beginning productively. So brainstorm, arrive at an idea, set the goal, which is really important, and map out the work, because again, you have limited time, and all of the aspects of uploading a game, uploading a final product will require mapping out, okay, so how much time can we draw, how much time can we program, how much time can we level design. Also, don't forget the jam requirements with the screenshots and trailers and there has to be some sort of a UI, because at least the play button has to be set there somewhere. Yeah. And don't forget to take breaks together. But those breaks together with the team also allows for some emotional release, and also you can do light check-ins on, okay, how is everywhere, how are we feeling as a team, and where everyone is individually, so you know what the general atmosphere is with everyone, and that could alter the plans, and maybe we don't need 17 swords, maybe 2 will be enough, and release the pressure from, for example, the artist. Okay, next one is a big one. So no documentation. So in general, in our industry, documentation is everything, because you need a lot of people to understand what the game has to be, where it is, and everybody has to know what has to be done and how it has to be done. But since this is uh, um, a rapid development environment, there is really no good way to maintain and have bulky documentation for your game. So basically, you and your team know the answer, and that answer looks different for all the teams. You just have to find a tool that works, and that is most of all, it has to be accessible to everyone and readable by everyone. Readable is really important, because if you start taking notes or start planning something in abbreviations or squiggles that only you can read, then the plan and the documentation, it just doesn't have any mm, any use, because it fails to meet its purpose, basically. So while I was talking to people about their experience with this, my question was sort of, okay, so what do you use to plan? Do you do like sheets or Excel or something? And I went to one person, and they said whiteboard, and I go like, oh, is that some sort of an app? No, of course not, a real one. And then I went to another person, and I asked, so okay, so what do you use? And they go like whiteboard, and after the previous conversation, I go like, a physical one? No, of course not, an app. And so that just illustrates perfectly that every team has their own way of mapping out the game project. But definitely, it's not going to be a GDD or a Wikipedia or whatever, because there's no time. The next one, make it playable, keep it playable. This actually is quite simple. The sooner you have something that you can play, the easier it becomes to build on top of it, and it becomes easier to build for everyone. Artists get a feel for the environment and the animations, so they can plan what their next assets have to be and what they should look like. Designers can start building levels depending on what the game is, and of course, programmers know what works and what's next. So this is just a simple thing to remember, that if you keep it playable, then also, if you keep it playable, it will be so much easier when it is time to upload, because you always have a working build. Okay, make your things do more than one thing. So this idea comes from a very informed human. I'm sure most of you know who Mark from Game Maker's Toolkit, and one of his episodes really inspired me. It was an old episode, and he talked about versatile verbs, which is basically player actions that can have multiple uses depending on how you perform them. And he gave it as an example Mario Jump, but as he does, there's many games, many examples. So basically, having one action, but you can make that action do a lot of things in your game. I like to apply this to basically everything I can while doing prototyping and on early stages of game development, because you at the beginning you don't have a lot, of assets, you don't have a lot of code as well that works, but you can think of what to do with what you have. And this is going to be a rudimentary example, but for example, uh, I need a key, I need a weapon, I need a scythe for herb gathering, I need a pestle for my mortar, but the only thing I have is a sword art asset. So my answer for this situation would be use it for everything. Basically, that sword can be anything that fits, loosely fits. You can make it fit. And at first, it might feel like a constraint, but this type of thinking, actually, it opens up this really cool way of looking creatively at your game design and narrative design. This also sparks ideas of how we can adapt things to do more than we have now. So, whenever we will talk about scope creep in a minute, but whenever you feel like you feel like you want to add more and more and more things to your game just to make some sort of idea work, it must be a time to step back and look at it and maybe think of how can I make my idea work with the things I have already now. And this might at the end result, this might even make the game better. Okay, reach the goal, don't make the goal better. So yeah, this is on the robot list. There's no going around it, because and also this is something that everyone mentions when you talk about game jams. Basically, scope creep. And I find that probably game designers are most prone to scope creep, especially at early to mid stages of making a prototype or making a new game, because you get so excited by all the possibilities and all of the ideas that you just think this could be so much more. I can see the potential of making it even better. If we just add these 17 more things, we can add these new systems, and it will make it even better. But this is something you need to push aside and keep it locked away, because you need to remember that first meeting and remember the goal that you set, and stick to it, because otherwise you might just not reach the goal. You will just as they say, keep moving the goalposts further away, or make the goalposts impossible to hit. So one of the good ideas I heard while talking with people is to write out your ideas, so that they don't eat your brain. Basically, you just write them out so you don't keep constantly thinking about, oh, this could be so much better if we do this additional meta system or additional feature that we could add. But just write them down and pretend that you're gonna add them later, and maybe you will, maybe you won't, but that's not the point of the moment that you're currently in. Okay, juice is relative. So we all know that a lot of people talk about adding juice to your game, because that makes a mediocre game so much better. So it's sound effects or animations or some other visual effects, or it can be anything just to make that your your game hit more on those base dopamine levels. Next bullet point is just vampire survivors. That's the whole bullet point. I don't know what to add, but I think a lot of you will get what I mean. But since again time is not really on your side, you juice is something that needs to be planned out or even added only if you have time later. So if you want, you can include juice in your plan, but also plan it out what type of juice you want to add and how much time do you want to spend on it. Yes, I forgot that bullet point was there. As with anything, first do the thing, then try and make it prettier. This is an actually good point that I came across while talking to multiple people is that it's good. It's something to think about beforehand. Basically, during a game jam, to not waste time and the experience itself, don't wait around. Uh, think about the times because game development it cannot happen all parallel. Sometimes it does, but most of the times there are situations where you're waiting for something to do your part, and while waiting there are things you can do. So maybe this is a good opportunity to think about adding the aforementioned juice, or doing the UI, or doing level design, writing the description of the game, or at least networking, but just don't wait around for your part to start. There's always something to do during the game jam. Okay, and that were all the tips that the robots won't tell you, sort of, kind of. Now we're moving on to a little bit of preparation. So, a couple of questions to ask yourself before going to this experience would be: so how will we start? That mirrors what I was talking before. You can start with tasty food and a blank page, but as long as you plan out what you're about to do in the next 48 hours, then it works. Where will we have no documentation, sort of, that documents everything? Whiteboard or whatever works for your team, but also you can discuss that with your team beforehand. Maybe you already know something that works for everyone, and I don't know, sticky notes maybe, for example. What is my fallback task if I have to wait for something? This is something actually I encourage to think about, because you might find that you want to do sound design even though you're a game designer, for example, and you'll this is a good opportunity to learn something new and try out something new. Do we as a team know approximately how much we can do in the time frame? This is a difficult question because it is very hard to answer, but just keeping that question in mind will help at the beginning stages, so you don't overestimate, because at the end of the day, you know what you want to do, and maybe we don't need those 87 monster variations. Also, I encourage you to think about the experience itself. I asked people, not only those 5 people, but there were many more in the office who have been in game jams, and I asked them what is a game jam to them. What is that experience? And the answers are as varied as there are many people, because it's a huge experience. You get to network with people, you get to be silly and fun and learn new things, and sometimes it's all about finishing a game, and there's nothing wrong about that. But I encourage people to think about, before the experience, what I want to take from it, so that I don't focus just on on finishing a game, but maybe making some new connections and enjoying the time around other people who are making games with you and sharing your passion. And basically, that's it. Experience everything just mentioned, but also don't forget that this is a challenge. You came to challenge yourself, and no matter the approach, if you came here to have silly fun or actually make a serious prototype for a future game, or just to network and hang out with minded individuals, the goal of the challenge is quite clear. So you know what you love, and you know what your passion is, and you know what the goal is. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here, and you wouldn't be going to the game jam. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. That was very, very cool to listen. Very, very good and, organic advice, I would say, about Game Jam. I was thinking also about few things. It's nice that you stressed about this time constraints, because I think usually that's the biggest challenge for everyone. So maybe you would have an advice. Does it make sense to do some kind of timesheet in the beginning before even starting, or it's not possible, like without knowing what you will do, to imagine how long it will take?
Since I talked with people who came from various background and various programmers, game designers, artists, what I found was that more experienced people, especially people from the game industry, they quite easily know how much it will take them. So I guess it depends on the experience, but even though you don't have, for example, a lot of game development experience, and you don't know how to estimate, it's a good practice to try, and then see at least map out the beginning portions of the upcoming next few tasks, and then see if you hit the goals. Then it will help you think about the overall picture, think about the overall game. Okay, you for example decide free art assets and then movement programming, and it will take us about 2 or 3 hours or whatever, and then after 2 or 3 hours you see, okay, we managed to do that and more. Okay, so maybe we can think about having a bit more items, or maybe a bit more characters, and vice versa. If you don't manage to hit those marks, then you think about, okay, maybe we'll need to cut something to manage.
Would you advise to do like some kind of quick sprints in that sense, like usually companies do, maybe like, I don't know, every 2 hours, every 3 hours, to like go back together and see what's happening?
I don't think it would realistically work. I think doing natural organic breaks, because you will need breaks. You will need to go grab a drink or snack, or just chill out and not look at the screen or scroll Instagram or whatever. So when those it's better to naturally sync up those breaks, like, hey guys, let's go grab a snack or grab some water, and then do a bit of light check-ins, like, how is everybody doing, are we on time? Because I don't think a rigid structure like mini sprints could work. With an experienced team, like if someone from North Korean gathers like all 6 people who have been in the industry for 5 to 10 years, I think you could do that. But I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know, how much organization will take out the fun out of the chaos. That's the thin line to balance.
I guess that's a good approach, not to overmanage yourself with this. Another
It's a
maybe approach.
game jam, you know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we need to remember that it's not. Although we do some kind of voting and screenshots and everything, but it's not a competition with a like a prize pool or whatever. It is just for you to learn. Would it help to in advance to limit yourself in the sense while you don't know what you will do, maybe you can figure out what not to do, just reject some kind of things at once. I'm referring maybe to these diversifiers which Global Game Jam has. We usually forget to talk about them more, but maybe that's an approach to kind of avoid this from one point, avoid this kind of blank page syndrome when you don't know what to do. From another point, not to do this, scope creep or feature creep.
The best advice I've heard is start with one mechanic. Just find one thing that makes you happy and feels fun. So basically, you're looking for a toy before you're looking for a game. You're looking for something that is fun to play around with, and then you build on top of it, and that allows you, okay, so during the brainstorm session, you figure out kind of the idea, you think it's going to be fun, you build a quick prototype, and if it turns out to be something that is fun to play around with, then you can pursue that idea and push it further, and not exactly scope creep, but like round out what the idea is completely. Okay, so we're gonna have this goal, this in this mechanic, and we're gonna use this mechanic to reach that goal without like adding any meta systems or whatever. Just keep it very simple, straightforward, one mechanic, and do it. One idea, basically.
Yeah, that's nice. When you were talking about these things, I was remembering from several years working with this, and especially when we do this screenshot review, you can already see that how they compare to like what's happening on Saturday and what's happening in the final version of the game. And really more and more teams kind of do that approach, that they have something very simple on Saturday, and you can see that in screenshots. And I want to encourage also, although we kind of try to go through screenshots, but also please share GIFs of small videos during the day, because it's very cool to see how it changes, even like just with simple prototype with like, I don't know, squares and spheres or whatever. And then it's very nice to see how the characters build up on top of that, or like more animations or whatever. And I guess
it's an awesome event of really great creative output, but because it's for everything, you get inspired as a programmer, you get inspired as an artist, you get inspired as a gamer, and when you see those outputs of other people, it just boosts you even more, that you can see, oh, so they did that with this theme, and that's cool, and maybe we can push us a bit further, maybe we can add something even more, and I think it's really inspirational to see that creative output from other teams while doing it.
Yeah. Another also keep reminding everyone that whenever you will have some free time or waiting for a colleague to finish something, just don't forget that we're asking for trailers, and I think you can prepare early for trailer. Just do like a title slide or credits slide if you know the team. Register your team. There are a lot of these homework tasks to do while you're waiting, or while you resting from the development. So please keep in mind that you won't need to rush the last day, the last hours. So we are good with time. Thanks a lot. It was really interesting, and hopefully very useful. we'll share that everywhere, and hopefully more people can watch the talk before the game jam starts or during the game jam. Actually, yeah, we get when we started these lectures, we get comments that people really like to watch them during the game jam, like while they do something, just to have it on the second monitor or whatever. So yeah, hopefully more people will see it and use the advice. And yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
This was Povilas from North Current, and we'll come back tomorrow with another lecture, and hope to see you on the weekend. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thanks.